Okay, well, welcome to our live webinar. My name is Nicola Pomponio, and today we're going to be discussing Segura Viudas, new wine, the modern icon, and then we're going to move into the Reserva Heredad. Really excited about that. Matilde Rinaldis, our wine educator, sommelier, and brand ambassador, who is at the winery right now. Hi, Matilda. Welcome. Thank you.
Hello, everybody.
Yeah,
Welcome.
why don't you
Very
let's just go ahead and begin. Tell us about yourself and your role at Segura, and then we'll roll into the wines.
sure. Well, I'm a certified sommelier by WSET Level 3. I hope you know it. And I've been working in Segura Viudas for more than 5 years. I'm a part of the hospitality team and brand ambassador. So we actually do a lot of wine fairs. We receive VIP clients. We do regular tours. We participate in special events. Like yesterday, that it was Cordon Negro's 50th birthday. And yeah, a little bit of that, traveling around Spain, speaking about our wonderful wines and cavas. So that's a little bit about me, but let's talk about our cavas at Segura Viudas. I don't know if all of you have visited us, but just in case, we are located right off Barcelona city, around 30 minutes away from it, along the coastline. And we are in a region called Penedès, in the town called Torrelavit, that is just 7 kilometers, 7 minutes away from the capital of Cava, which is the city of Sant Sadurní d'Anoia. So Segura Viudas is placed in this beautiful Torrelavit city. And this city is located in the region of Penedès. Penedès is like a valley because it has the Massís del Garraf near the ocean, near the Mediterranean Ocean, just to give you an idea, near where the city of Sitges is, if you've been around. And on the other side, we have another type of mountain range, a pre-coastal mountain range. So the central valley of Penedès falls right in the middle. That's where we are located, right? And there we have a very nice Mediterranean weather because on the other side, thanks to the Montserrat Mountains that you were commenting, we are protected from the harsh and cold northern winds that may enter our area. And we do have a lot of influence from the ocean, from the coast side, with very good soil, very nice winds, and very healthy vines due to this amazing weather. So I also wanted to tell you a little bit about our hashtag, our claim, respect the roots. And to take it apart, we have two parts. The respect part is due to the long tradition of Penedès producing grapes and wines, and of this amazing state that you see here in my background. It's from the 11th century. It was many things before it became a winery, but it was always surrounded by vineyards. Vineyards, there were always grape being planted around the state. Actually, we have found pieces of amphoras and different types of vessels that were used for cava making that date from 600 years, up to 600 years before Christ. And these were pieces of wine history that are now in museums. So our relationship with the wine culture and the relationship of the whole region with wine and cava culture is very old. It started from the beginning. So the respect part is to honor those roots. So that's how we connect both things. But also, talking about respect, we need to highlight, here you have it in the presentation, our sustainability and all the effort we're putting in the sustainability of this estate. We have been awarded with different certifications. Wineries against climate protection, wineries for climate protection, not against, biosphere certificates. We have our own water cleaning plant. We keep the biodiversity of the state. We try to even like to help the diversity by planting autochthonous varieties of trees and plants and herbs, by keeping all the birds and animals that live around here, by protecting the river that flows right behind our state called Rio River, the Vidyas. And quite recently, we have installed a lot of solar panels that, since we have a lot of sun in Spain, they are being used a lot. So all of this is our character.
It was, you know, Matilda, it was amazing. We just had our group there, all of about 24 people, and it was just really amazing to see the actual property and to see the sustainability, to see all the efforts that are going behind at the winery taking place to really show this,
Yes.
truly speak to this slide. So it was really amazing. Now there's 3 tiers of Segura Viudas, correct? We have the Brut line, we have the Modern Icon, and we have the Reserva Heredad. So the first wine we're going to talk about is, I have it right here. Look, I hope you all received your bottle, by the way. The Modern Icon. So let's go ahead and begin with that, please.
Okay. So we launched the Modern Icon in this medium tier because we wanted something that was complex, that was elegant, but it was still very versatile and quite on the younger side. So we can use it for all type of occasions. We can drink it anytime, right? So that's why we launched the Modern Icon. And as you can see, one of the most important things is that the bottle is very special. Is in honor, is inspired in our iconic bottle Reserva Heredad, right? So Modern Icon is an inspiration of this one because we wanted to keep that essence. Also, is very minimalist. This neckline here is made with recycled grape residues. So all of that adds to the sustainability. But let's go and see what is inside this wine, right? We have a blend. We have a blend of the 3 typical Catalan varieties: Xarel·lo, Macabeo, and Parellada, mainly Macabeo with more Xarel·lo and with less Parellada. And then we have a slight touch of Chardonnay and Pinot Noir. Normally, remember I told you the region, the area of Penedès? Well, the Xarel·lo comes more from the coastal areas because it goes very well with this strong sea influence. Then the Macabeo is what we harvest in central Penedès, which is where the estate is located. So the vineyards surrounding the estate are Macabeo grape. And then the Parellada is obtained from Alt Penedès, with areas of the Penedès that are a little bit higher in altitude. So the Parellada adds certain freshness, perfume, and elegance, while the Xarel·lo adds a lot of fruit and body, and the Macabeo adds good acidity and body as well. Combined with Chardonnay and Pinot Noir. Chardonnay is the elegance, is international. It adds these long-lasting flavors. And Pinot Noir, it adds a little bit more body as well, and it helps us preserve the Cava, age it for longer, right? So this is the blend for our Modern Icon, always combining a more percentage, main percentage of local grapes, about 85%, with a little bit of the international ones. All obtained, all harvested in the Penedès area. What else? So,
well, tell us a little bit about the, you know, it's great to know exactly where the fruit is from. I was really wonderful. By the way, I love that the note about the label made from the grape residue. Wow, That's
Yes.
actually a really great point for our team to talk about, you know, for us from a sustainability standpoint. That's really interesting. In regards to your pairing suggestions, when I was reading your pairing suggestions, you wrote these. And when I read them, I was very intrigued because I said to myself, this is a really great way to speak to these wines. It's very, very simple. And the food that you list here is really well-rounded in regards to how we bring our wines out to customers of this type. So tell us about why you paired the wine with these foods.
Well, actually, when I first tried this Modern Icon, I thought it was like a very international cava, like a very international sparkling wine. So I immediately thought of food from all around the world. I'm a huge foodie. I used to work in the food business. My husband is a chef. So normally I do all the pairing suggestions in our technical sheets, if you see them around. And yes, when I first tried this, I thought this takes me all around the world. So that's why I chose something Mexican, something Thai, something from the Middle East, and also some classics from Spain or France, like a mushroom risotto or paella, why not? Jamon, an omelette, ham and cheese. So yes, I there for you to try it and pair it with different things. I don't know if you have your glass around, but I think maybe it's the moment for us to taste it.
Yeah, let's taste the wine and tell us about. I know it's written down here, but tell us a little bit about, you know, the aging and the dosage while you're speaking to the notes of the wine as well.
Aging. We are using the word vintage in the label because we want to highlight that it's only grape provided from one vintage and not a mix of different vintages, even though that is not bad. But we really liked to call it vintage as well for using grape only from one vintage only. The aging. The aging is a minimum of 9 months. You know that less than 9 months wouldn't be a cava, and more than 18 months is already a reserve. But for reserve, we have our next step, that is the Reserva d'Etat. So for the Modern Icon, a minimum of 9 months, normally at around 10 or 12. And dosage is 9 grams. And in Spain, because it changes a little bit in between your Spain, Italy, South America, but for Spain, 9 grams is considered brut, but you can still feel it dry on the palate. I don't know if you have tasted already. Very aromatic, stone fruit, like peaches and apricots, combined with a little bit of tropical fruit and some flowers. I hope you're following me. But when you taste it in the palate, this is still dry, even though it's not the driest. So these 9 grams of sugar per liter gives us the versatility to pair it with either more spicy food or more creamy dishes, as well as the fresh appetizers, oysters, chips, something a little bit lighter and fresher.
So the wine, I'm just looking at the text sheet. I think some of the most important points here, and we'll move on to Heredad in just a second. By the way, thanks for those descriptions, because the descriptions you just mentioned are perfect. 100% hand harvested, 50% of the first press is used in this, 9 grams per liter. So we're on the drier side. Great acidity, which is going to go really well with any type of food. I was even looking at some of the Asian influenced foods that you have here, as well as Mexican foods. 9 months of aging, really a well-rounded wine, and we're really excited about this wine. Thank you so much for the explanation on the Modern Icon.
Very
I believe
gastronomic.
This is going to be a yeah, very gastronomical, exactly. Let's go ahead and move to the Heredad. And then obviously, one other thing is, if you have any questions for Matilde, please go ahead and put them in the chat, because we can answer some questions about the wines. But let's roll into the Heredad.
Yeah. So our Reserva Heredad, different names. It's because Reserva means the reserve, right? Which is, and Heredad is the state. It's the combination of the house, the property, the state. So this was actually the first cava that we launched with the name, with the brand Segura Viudas in 1969, and it hasn't changed much from that. Fortunately, the marketing team didn't change much about this beautiful bottle. So this is like our icon. I have people here at the winery telling me that they got married, I don't know how many years ago in Belgium, in United States, that got married with this beautiful Cava. So yeah, it's iconic. This bottle was designed for us. It has the family crest here. Well, you know it well. The recent change of bottle, we decided to use the brown bottle instead of the green one that we were using, and adding the vintage as well on the back label, is because well, mainly two reasons. The first one, because it's preserved better from the light. The brown bottle is darker, so it will preserve the liquid inside better. And also because our marketing team is very proud of doing a lot of consumer surveys and consumer studies. And they all preferred the brown bottle. They said that it was linked to a bottle to a product that was more premium, that had more quality, and that they will pay more price for it. So we took advantage of that tip. Well, let's pour some of this Reserva d'Etat and taste it together.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's talk about the dosage. Let's talk about how long it ages, and then you can tell us about the wonderful pairing suggestions that you wrote here in the notes.
So here we are with a very different wine. We have a blend of only two varieties. We have Macabeo and a little bit of Chardonnay, but it's the main core, the main spirit of this Cava is Macabeo. And we are in front of a much longer aging. Here, this Cava is already categorized as Reserva, so at least it goes through 18 months of aging on the lees, which would add more flavor, deepness, complexity, persistency, make the bubbles a little bit thinner and smaller. The wine even with more palate. In terms of sugar, we are at the same level. It's also brut. It also has 9 grams of sugar per liter. And what we will notice here is that it's a much more evolved nose. We find the fruit is already very ripe with hints of honey. Maybe some of you will find some smokiness. Very interesting, very complex. What I love about Reserva d'Etat is that you can have a glass of it, and as you go through the night or through the tasting or through dinner, lunch, every time that you smell it, it shows you something different. It needs time to open up, to let itself express, and you will find something different every time. So it's very special. It's a cava that you have to take your time to drink it. And in the palate, well, due to the longer aging, we have a bubble that feels more like mousse and not so sparkly, not so energetic. And then the persistency is much longer. So this allows us to pair it with, let's say, even meat, right? Not very strong, very greasy meat, but just a nice steak or red tuna, for example. We pair it here at the winery with our best jamon. Jamon with pan con tomate is my favorite pairing for a Grand Reserva Cava. Dishes of pasta with creamy sauces or with seafood sauces, scallops, lobster. Whoa, a lot of things.
We had a lot of pan con tomate when we were there, as well as the jamon iberico. So this wine pairs so well with it, and what a beautiful wine, and what a beautiful package. And thank you for the little note about why we changed the color of the bottle to the brown. I think it's really important to know that, even from a marketing standpoint, yes, it helps preserve the freshness of the wine and the quality of the wine, but also from a marketing perspective, it made sense. It was a little bit more of a more influential, help to pull. And by the way, just one quick note, I sent this out last month, but we do have case sleeves for this wine because I know a lot of you have asked, and I just wanted to make sure that was a reminder that we do have case sleeves for the wine in case you're stacking this up at your local store. This wine spends how many months? 30 months of aging. Tell us a little bit about why you age this wine so long.
Well, during the aging on the lees in our underground cellars, because they all age here underground, we have a lot of bottles in our 4 underground floors. All the contact with the lees will help them change, right? So they will gain more deepness, obtain different aromas. As the cavas ripe or age, they will turn these very energetic bubbles into more soft, thinner ones. All the flavors of just very fresh tart or citrus fruit will be transformed into a more mellow ones. And we have some tertiary aromas that are starting to show, like the smokiness or the honey, or even maybe some salty notes that you may find. All this is developed during the long aging. So we wanted a cava that was very high in complexity, but still, due to the percentage of Chardonnay, but the main core of Macabeo still have a strong body with some finesse and elegance. It's not very heavy. It's not full bodied. It's amazing. It's a cava to discover
Yeah,
things.
when we were there, Javi was telling us about the age of the vines as well. This is a wine that obviously we're using. Can you tell us about the age of the vines that go into this wine, and maybe even in the modern icon? Probably let's just talk about the Heredad, because this is obviously where the age of the vines are really showing here.
Yes, exactly. For these ones, we use the best grapes, normally from the older vines that we have. So we select these best grapes of each of the varieties, and we make base wines. And we actually ferment everything separately, and then we blend like around 7 or 9 different wines out of these 2 varieties to obtain always the perfect blend for Reserva Heredad. Also, like you said, Nicola, in Reserva Heredad as well as in Modern Icon, we are using only the free run juice. This is a characteristic from Segura Viudas. All of our cavas will always use only the free run juice. So it's only the first percentage, the purest, freshest grape juice to be transformed into our beautiful cavas. And that adds a lot of quality to the liquid.
Yeah, that's extremely important, because we're talking about a price point that typically doesn't show quality. And the price point that we have, our modern icon, in regards to the quality of the juice inside, is extremely, extremely good. Nothing like some of our competition. So let's see here. We have a couple questions within the chat. I can't believe we've already almost
these
been
bottles are
at
so
30
unique.
minutes. Yeah.
Are unique, very unique, especially designed by us. So
and here's a couple questions. So let's see here. The fruit that goes into the Heredad commands a much higher price per kilo for the quality and age of the vines. Thanks for that, Chris. That's absolutely true. And then we have a question from Roger. Has the Reserve Heredad always had Chardonnay in the base blend?
Not always. Actually, the first blends didn't have Chardonnay. We started adding Chardonnay since 2016. I've been lucky enough to do a vertical tasting of all the vintages of Reserva Heredad, and along with the technical team, with the laboratory team, and it was amazing. But no, Chardonnay, we started adding it by vintage 2016.
Very good, very good. Let's see here. Has Heredad always been vintage dated? Another question in the chat.
No, not always. Actually, it might have always been vintage, but we only started adding the vintage word and the right vintage in the label since our last batch, since this vintage 2021. When we changed to the brown bottle, we also added the vintage to the label.
Very good, very good. All right. Well, I don't see any other questions in the chat. Is there anything else that anyone has? I'll give you about a few seconds. If not, Matilde, I just want to say thank you so much for your time. 30 minutes have almost passed already. We're right at the top of the hour. And I just want to thank you for taking the time with us today to share your stories. Thank you for your great pairing suggestions, because I think that's really important when we're out selling the wine. But most of all, I just want to say, yeah, absolutely. I'm really glad that your husband's a chef, because it really shows in the commentary and the restaurant background as well. But that's just one portion of who we sell to. The other is the the other side of the business that we sell to as well. So it's always important to have both sides. But Matilda, thank you so much for taking your Friday evening this time to spend with our team here in the United States. We really, really appreciate it. I'll leave it back to you just to say goodbye to the team. And once again, thank you for your time and thank you for everything that you're doing for us.